Nobody circles the wagons like the Albany Bills.
That was an offline conversation that we had. Some things are just for us.
This jabroni over here with his Bills everything.
You can tell by upstate New York throwing up all over Justin. Hello, and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. Joining me today is Chad Bunt and
That's me.
Justin McGovern, and we are going over the AFC East.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell by upstate New York throwing up all over Justin.
This jabroni over here with his Bills everything.
Hey, you know what? Go Bills. You're the one
Ew.
wearing a Bengals shirt on the non-Bengals preview, so don't blame me for being passionate about my team.
We are supporting DeMar Hamlin's CPR training.
Well, that is very true.
Yeah. How bad do you feel?
Fair enough. Yes, I do feel very bad.
All right, so let's jump right in. Chad, you want to take us away?
The dang old Buffalo Bills, baby. We know what the Bills are about. They're a high-flying
Hold
offense.
on. Just a round of applause for Justin for getting it right this time.
Yeah.
And not showing us
right.
his desktop. All right, Chad, go ahead.
All right, before I was rudely interrupted, I was saying the Buffalo Bills, we all know what they're about. They're a high-flying offense with zero running game. I don't know what they're going to do. James Cook, I really hope they get Dalvin Cook because it's kind of scary thinking they're just going to be throwing the ball all over the place and hopefully it lands in Stephon Diggs' hand or Dalton Kincaid or Dawson Knox. Somebody, but I don't know. I think they're a great team. I think they're just going to falter a little bit this year. I think Josh Allen could honestly win MVP, though. I think he's got a good chance at it. And their defense, the only thing about their defense is starting to age. Justin?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Defense is starting to age a little bit, especially in the secondary. They lack depth in some areas, which is a little bit concerning. And the pass rush last year kind of disappeared when Von Miller got hurt. It's been hard to find other solutions in that spot because the Bills didn't have a lot of cap space this year. But if Von can stay healthy whenever he comes back, I'm hoping he comes back at the beginning of the year, but we'll see. He should be able to lead the defensive line. But Greg Rousseau needs to take the next step, and maybe some of these other previous draft picks can make a step up too. On the offensive side, can it be more creative? Because last year, it just kind of became a lot of having Josh Allen just chuck it down the field. Put it less responsibility on him. Yes, he is awesome and can do anything, but maybe not make every play about him and hopefully find some running game. Maybe Damian Harris can kind of step in. He can provide a little bit more between the tackles. He's not exactly explosive, but at least he can, plow ahead for 4 yards and call it a day. The offensive line likewise needs to improve. And overall, just hoping with 2 tight end sets and everything that maybe the play calling can get a little bit more creative because Dorsey did a good job like the first 6 games of the year, and then it seemed like he ran out of ideas. So I'm very interested to see how it looks this year. Matt?
So nobody circles the wagons like the Albany Bills.
That was an offline conversation that we had. Some things are just for us.
I don't care. I just needed a laugh from you guys on
Let the world know.
They're going to have to run 2 tight end sets because there's not much behind Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. They really didn't do a whole lot to address the receiver position. They did just sign Andy Isabella, who's got a lot of speed, and they have Isaiah Coulter, but those guys aren't flashy guys. I mean, when your third best receiver is Trent Sherfield, I don't think you have much room for error in the receiver room. Defense or offensive line is pretty good. They do have a McGovern. Shout out to Justin.
Yeah.
No relation. I did actually go to school with their backup center. He was a tackle back then. It was 6th grade, so he does not remember me at all. Josh Allen is definitely going to be in contention for MVP. They have his non-relative sibling Kyle Allen behind him, but they are a little thin at running back. James Cook, he did not impress at all last year. He had some flashes, but it just wasn't there. He's got to step up huge. Let's just assume for right now that James Cook doesn't sign a 1-year deal with the Bills. But
You mean
Damian
Dalvin
Harris,
Cook?
That's what I meant. I was moving on to Damian Harris who threw me off. Damian Harris, he was okay in Pittsburgh or New England, wherever. I hate both, but Damian Harris was pretty good in New England, but they didn't have much of a run game, and he's the reason for that. What didn't he go to Alabama?
Yeah.
So he's one of the handful of Alabama running backs that just exceeds expectations in college and then goes to the NFL and then just looks used. And then they do have Latavius Murray, but he's well past his prime at this point. Defensively, they are aging. I mean, if Von Miller can't go through an entire season, this team is going to lose in the playoffs. They need Von Miller to stay healthy. Yeah, pretty much. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White, for that matter, are staples of this defense, but they're up there in age. So get their AARP cards out, and they could end up getting hurt again. I don't really want to see. I don't like to talk about injuries, but they do have a little bit of a contract thing going on at corner. Dane Jackson is on his final year. Isn't Tre'Davious White on his final year, Justin?
No, he's not. He's got a few more.
I looked it up and we had a conversation about it before, but they don't really have a whole lot of long-term people. Kyer Elam is probably going to get an extension, but they are thin at corner. And then is DeMar Hamlin going to make the team?
It's all going to depend. It's a lot. Like, he's just taken the field on pads practice for the first time today. So definitely a lot to work on there, a lot for him to figure out first before we can.
I think with having Taylor Rapp and Dean Marlowe as their backups, I don't see DeMar Hamlin making the team, unfortunately. I hope he ends up getting a shot somewhere else, but
I mean, the man almost died. The man almost died. But he's just happy to be on the field, honestly.
Yeah, and if he weren't to make the main roster, I do believe they would sign him to the practice squad for sure.
Yeah, but anybody can snatch him up at that point if they want him on the roster.
Anyone could.
Or
which, good for him.
Maybe a coaching assistant role. Who knows?
Yeah. But I do like their defensive line. I mean, Tim Settle and Poona Ford, those are good, solid, bigger, meatier men to put
meatier men
to get in the rotation behind Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones. Pass rush is a big thing, though. Von Miller not being on the field last year, you could see that there wasn't much of a pass rush.
Yeah, and beforehand there was. Like, he made a huge difference. He was like the main piece of the pass rush. Like, Rousseau's been developing each year, but so far, like when Von Miller's off the field, Rousseau's like the only guy that can get up to the passer. Basham and the other defensive linemen just have not been able to get after the quarterback as much. And like you mentioned with Hyde and Poyer, this is probably their last ride together in the back of the defense. So this is definitely a big year for them. And just one more thing on the offense, I'm just curious to see how Gabe Davis looks too, because he got hurt early on in the year and it kind of seemed like it slowed him down. And then every once in a while he'd explode for a near 200-yard game and then he'd disappear again. So is he going to be more consistent? That's another question we have to ask.
Is this a year that we see Stephon Diggs get 130 catches?
Yeah,
close to it.
Diggs, is he happy with the Bills right now?
Yeah,
I think he's not too happy right now. So. I think it might affect him in the long run.
They said that they're past that, but I really don't. I think they're closing that door to the media, and I think they're going to try to handle it behind the scenes. But look for that to rear its ugly head again.
Yeah.
Right.
Media loves to make stories out of nothing. It was in the middle of June. There was nothing else to talk about.
We'll see.
Well, we can move on.
On to the Miami Dolphins. Chad, what are your thoughts?
Oh, by the way,
Miami Dolphins.
the Bills don't have a defense coordinator currently. Just side note.
Sean McDermott is calling the defense plays this year.
Yeah, but you always have to assign a defense coordinator. They don't really have one.
Yes.
That's my point.
I was actually furthering your point.
Gary.
All right, Chad, make the dolphin
Go,
noise
Chad.
again.
The Dolphins. The Dolphins, everybody likes to talk about the Dolphins with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. But the real question of the Dolphins, much like the Dallas Cowboys, is can Tua stay healthy? And I mean, can this man take another hit to his head? I don't want to see him like twisting his fingers up again on the field like he did against the Bengals. I can tell you that much. Are they gonna just throw the ball deep every game all year? Because I mean, they really don't have a running game either, just like the Bills. I think their defense is talented, but I just feel like the Dolphins are going in the wrong direction, and I feel like they need to reassess that team. I'd love to see them succeed, but I don't see it happening this year.
Well, there's a lot of talent, but it definitely does start with Tua. Like, can he stay healthy? I mean, he had a rough go of it last year of injuries and just a lot of concussion issues, which is just very scary in general. Like, some people even think that he should have retired from the NFL of how many concussions he had last year. It was getting dangerous for him, quite frankly. So, like,
He has pudding.
I mean, but the one good thing about the Dolphins is they have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, which is one of the most talented duos of receivers in the NFL. There is a big question of who they'll throw to besides those two. They need them to stay healthy. They need Hill to not get suspended this year, which most likely he won't for whatever the incident that happened because it takes so long to go through the whole process. So he won't get suspended this year, most likely. But, I mean, they need those two to stay healthy because they got nothing behind them to throw to. Like you said, the running game's a question. It's very weird to hear about a team with the Shanahan scheme struggle to run, but that was the case for the Dolphins. They tried drafting a running back, A-Chain, to hopefully maybe get them somewhere with that. But he's a speed guy, but I'm curious to see how he fits in the system. The offensive line has a good starting unit-ish, but again, for those guys, staying healthy is an issue for them as well. And likewise, that then compounds to Tua staying healthy, and that's the whole thing. Like you said, the defense looks pretty good. Bradley Chubb, they used their draft pick to trade for him last year. Their first round pick, the one that didn't get taken away, I should say. And Bradley Chubb actually kind of disappointed once he joined here. He didn't fit in as expected. So let's see if he can step it up and play good again, or will he continue to struggle because that's a big key to their pass rush. And yeah, in the secondary, losing Jalen Ramsey for most of the year is going to hurt too. Xavier Howard's still a stud at corner, but Jalen Ramsey, I mean, they invested huge in getting him, and losing him already is a big dent.
So, one note, Justin, the defense did get Vic Fangio as their defense coordinator. So I do think that things are going to turn around on that defense for some of the more promising players. Offensively, assuming Tyreek Hill doesn't get suspended at all this season, they do have Braxton Berrios and Cedric Wilson. They have, I'm not calling him chosen, Robbie Anderson, also, who's really not that good.
Okay.
But
why do people think he's good? Like, he had one decent year with the Jets, and that's it. And then everyone makes a big deal when he signs somewhere.
He looks like Marlon Wayans from that 90s movie. Something about
Don't be a
menace
menace.
Yeah, don't be a menace. Yeah. I like Braxton Berrios. He's actually a pretty good punt returner, so they may have a punt return game. I'm the only reason why they didn't have a run game last year was because nobody trusted them to throw the ball because Tua was hurt most of the year, or wasn't himself when he did come back. So everybody stacked the box, sent some blitzes.
And hurt
you
Teddy
can-
Bridgewater.
Yeah, and Teddy Bridgewater doesn't really have. He's not the Teddy Bridgewater before both ACLs got torn.
He's not even there anymore now.
Yeah.
No, I know, but like last year, like everyone was like, "All right, you're gonna run the ball here because you have nothing else to do."
Didn't
But
they end
Mike
up going to
McDaniel,
like a third or fourth quarterback?
Skylar
Yeah.
Thompson, they have Mike White now.
I
Yeah,
like that.
Mike White has
Yeah.
injury issues too.
Yeah. So pretty much the only one who doesn't
Man,
get injured is Skylar Thompson. But this year, I think Mike McDaniel, the most interesting coach in the NFL, may get the running game going. You have to keep in mind, he was the run game coordinator in San Francisco, and he's the reason why Debo did so well a few years ago. Defensively, even with missing Jalen Ramsey, they still are pretty stacked in the secondary. They're really good at safety. They got Xavier Howard. They signed Eli Apple, and say what you want about him, but he actually does play pretty good man coverage. Although he's not the most consistent player in the NFL.
I love both Tyreek Hill on the same field together. Same team.
I know, on the
hilarious.
same team. I have practice every single day.
I think Tyreek Hill actually tweeted out like Monday's meeting is going to be fantastic once they signed Eli Apple. But this team on paper looks like they could do something, or at least make the playoffs. But they do have a few teams in front of them in the division that just look a little bit better.
If Tua stays healthy, and that's a huge if, this team is definitely a playoff contender, but definitely health at the quarterback position, health on the offensive line. Like, those are huge question marks that could stop this team from doing what they are capable of. I mean, McDaniel's a good coach. They have good players. It's just, can they stay on the field?
Yeah.
On to the New England Patriots. Chad?
The New England Patriots, man. We want to talk about the New England Patriots. They had the opportunity to go out there and get DeAndre Hopkins. They didn't. They had opportunities to go get all sorts of weapons and stuff. I really don't see anything other than tight ends on this team. Why do they keep signing tight ends? I don't know. They got like 32, Mac Jones, I just don't think he has enough weapons to be successful. I mean, the offensive line isn't terrible, but I mean, he can't be throwing to Devontae Parker and I can't even name another receiver on that team other than a tight end.
Jacoby Myers?
Juju?
Meh.
Juju.
No, Jacoby Myers in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah, Jacoby Myers is gone. Yeah, Juju. Yeah. Oh, no. This is just...
Come on, let's not talk about Juju. Let's
they
be
do
real.
have Bill Murray on the offensive line.
Thank God, because that's going to save their team this year.
Oh, man.
Like I said, they're lacking wide receiver. Ramondre Stevenson is not terrible, but I don't see him as a 3-down back in the NFL. The defense has a lot of holes. Either they're aging or they're just not that great. And then, does Mac have it this year? He had a couple years with Alabama because that team was stacked. I just don't think he has it with this New England team.
Yeah, it's a lot different when he was at Alabama, had 4 first-round receivers to throw to, and now he doesn't even have a single receiver on the team that was as talented as like 4 guys he was throwing to there, up against college defenses, I might add. It's a little bit tough for him. The offensive line is solid. They can especially run block, but Trent Brown is the best lineman they have, and he tends to get hurt. You could definitely bank on him. Unfortunately, probably missing a few games this year. Stevenson, you mentioned him. He's the highlight of this offense. It's kind of weird. They actually really don't have much for another running back behind them. I mean, maybe they're hoping their draft pick from last year, Pierre Strong, steps up or something, but it's weird. Usually you think about the Patriots having like 3 to 4 running backs. They rotate in there. Instead, this year, it just seems like it's Stevenson's backfield. They don't really have much else, but yeah, I mean, the receiver position is just terrible. The one thing that does help them on offense is, even though Billy O'Stooge is Billy O'Stooge, he's an offensive coordinator. They aren't using a defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator this year. So at least that's an improvement. That's got to be an improvement by default. I will disagree with you, Chad, on the defense. Their defense was actually quite tough, despite the fact that they were on the field a lot because the offense couldn't execute anything because they probably didn't even have a game plan since they were using the defensive coordinator on the offensive coordinator position. But yeah, the defense. What was that?
Bailey Zappi will take care of them.
Hey, dude, Bailey Zappi actually did pretty well last year in relief of Mac Jones. That's why
Mac
there's a
Jones
little bit of
2.0.
pressure. Yeah, they do look actually kind of similar. It's weird. But yeah, the defensive line can generate pressure. They have good linebackers because that's what Belichick's defenses do. They always have good linebackers. They do lose McCourty at safety. He's been there forever. And then they just drafted a new corner to help at the corner position in Christian Gonzalez. So I'm definitely curious to see. I mean, the defense can keep them in some games, but I just don't see this offense helping them win. Matt?
So, offensively, they're trash. They got to either sign Dalvin Cook or go out and find another receiver. And hope that somebody pulls an Antonio Brown from the Raiders and just decides that they really want out because they can't wear their old-fashioned helmet. Otherwise, they're throwing to Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki, and that's it. Juju and Devontae Parker aren't the people that we thought they were going to be. They had maybe one or two good seasons each. Then you're looking at Tyquan Thornton, Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Hurd, and Matthew Slater. That's not a great group of names.
Matthew Slater is special teams only, by the way.
Pretty much.
And Kendrick Bourne isn't terrible, but he's not anything to write home about.
He was in Belichick's doghouse for a lot of the year, too.
And then, Justin, they do have Ty Montgomery, so they could do a little bit out of the backfield with passes.
Hey, guess what? Good news, man. Ty Montgomery.
He's like a Cordero Patterson light and if you're looking at Cordero Patterson, he's not even the greatest of running backs either. So he's like, yeah, but Ty Montgomery will be good in the pass game. That's all I'm trying to say. Mac Jones doesn't have much around him. He is Billy O'Stooge, Billy O'Buttchin. But the defense is they're gonna keep him in this game. Or in these games. Christian Gonzalez, I like him, but I mean, he's never played in the NFL. So how do we know what they have? Like, he could be a complete bust. So until we see what he does, we can't accurately say what they have at corner. Because now they also have Jack Jones, who's about to get a lengthy suspension for carrying 2 loaded guns through the airport against his knowledge. We don't exactly know if that's real, if it's not.
Allegedly.
Allegedly took 2 loaded guns through the airport.
Isn't it he was talking about John Morant months before this happened to him?
Yeah. He sent out tweets. Yeah. He sent out tweets like saying, come on, bro, like, why are you doing this? And then he does the exact same thing. Like, he does even worse. John Morant at least did it like just with his friends in the car carrying a gun around. Jack Jones tried to go through TSA with guns. Like, come on, dude.
Come on.
Delete your Twitter at this point. They do have good safeties: Adrian Phillips, Jabril Peppers, and Kyle Duggar. Those 3 will be in a decent rotation. But outside of that, they don't have a whole lot when it comes to corner. So I think if you have a deep wide receiver core, you're going to be able to toast them pretty easily.
By the way, I mean, I'd just like to see Belichick, because he goes to these crazy things. Maybe he should just go all in and just sign 4 tight ends, and that's it. Just run 4 tight end sets, no receivers.
Wing T, all tight ends.
Yeah. They do have Steve Belichick and Gerard Mayo as co-defensive coordinators, even though Bill's probably going to be calling the plays.
Have you seen Steve Belichick on the field?
He looks like he just escaped from like a mental institution.
He's all jacked something. He's all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
He was actually our picture for the Patriots last year, by the way.
Yeah.
That
with
guy's
his
crazy.
weird mullet.
Yep.
What did Rick James say? Cocaine's one hell of a drug, man.
Oh my! Well,
There's
before
not
we
much
make any
else to
more
say.
jokes, we should move on to the Jets.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chad, take it away.
All right, the New York Jets. Joe Namath
Where's he?
is fine. We were sitting here all last year, guys. We talked about it. What if these Jets that almost made the playoffs and made a run and made it look kind of scary, these New York Jets, what if they had a quarterback like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? Well, guess what? They got Aaron Rodgers. They went out. They spent on him. Yeah, it was a lot to get an aging quarterback, but they got that quarterback that they wanted. Now they got the rookie of the year, the defensive rookie of the year, and they got Aaron Rodgers. And top it off, Breece Hall, he's healthy. You know, you got a running game there. That offensive line, it isn't terrible. And then they went out and signed a bunch of wide receivers for this man. Look out, New York. The Jets are coming, baby. They're coming to take Buffalo down. Look out, Justin.
New Jersey. They're in New Jersey. They haven't crossed in New York yet. They're on the other side. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
They decided to go less traffic.
And it's almost. I mean, a little bit less traffic, of course, because no one wants to be in New Jersey, but still a bunch of traffic. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers is the huge addition. We talked about this many times last year, how Zach Wilson sucked and they badly needed a quarterback. Now they have one. Breece Hall, you said he's healthy, but I mean, he's coming back from a torn ACL. So how healthy is he? It's going to be a question. And I mean, they'll be more dangerous later in the year than early in the year because I think Hall will probably be not quite himself coming back early on. It might take him a little bit. Oftentimes it's tough for running backs to come back from that injury in that next year and be the same guy. But yeah, Garrett Wilson is looking like he's going to be one of the best receivers in the league. He was unstoppable last year. Now he's got an actual quarterback throwing to him, so he's even going to be more unstoppable. They got a lot of options to be that second receiver. I'll be curious to see who kind of steps up there. They got Lazard, who has familiarity with Rodgers, or Corey Davis has been a bust of a signing so far, but maybe have a real quarterback will help him step up. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options there that could be the number 2 guy. Defensively, they were very good last year. Pretty loaded up front of the defensive line. Sauce Gardner was, I mean, he could have been the top. He might actually have been the top corner in the NFL last year as a rookie. That is astounding. I mean and he's only going to get better. I don't know how, but he's only going to get better. So with him locking down guys, I mean, it just gives them so many options on the defense. Linebacker might be the only weakness they really have there.
So offensively, they've made so many changes the past couple of years. We used to look at the New Jersey Jets and say, this is where receivers' careers go to die. And for the longest time, that was true after Keyshawn Johnson left. But they got Garrett Wilson, who is becoming one of the better receivers in the NFL. Allen Lazard, who has a lot of chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. They got Corey Davis, who has never had a decent quarterback in his career. They have obviously Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers for some reason goes down, they have the same team as last year. So then they'll just not make the playoffs again. But offensively, they have Breece Hall. Defensively, they have Bryce Hall. Offensively, they have Michael Carter. Defensively, they have Michael Carter. So they're going with some symmetry here.
Love it.
Tight end may be the only position on the offense where I'm like, all right, you guys have about the same talent with Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzama. They did get Zach Kuntz, who a lot of people looked at him and were like, that guy's going to be a guy someday, but he's a late round pick. At running back, they have Breece Hall, who's probably one of the better running backs in the league at this point. Michael Carter, they just drafted some guy in the 5th round, and they have Zonovan Knight, who took over last year. Defensively, they
Bam!
are a little bit older when it comes to like top down. They got CJ Mosley, who's aging. DJ Reed's been around for a little bit, but Adrian Amos got signed. He's a little bit older. Jordan Whitehead's a little bit older. Franklin Myers has been around for a little bit. Carl Lawson's been around for a little bit. So they have a little bit of age there. But with age comes experience, and not all of them are out of their prime. Some of them are still well within their prime. One guy that I'm mainly looking forward to is Will McDonald, mainly because my ADHD can't handle his last name, and I'm going to be singing Will McDonald got a sack, E-I-E-I-O, every time I see him get a sack. But they better bring that sauce at B-Dubs. I'm telling you right now.
They're still doing commercials. Why is it gone?
Maybe it's just our market, but Sauce, definitely one of the better corners already. He's only in the second year. He's definitely one of the best in the league. It was a fight between him and who's the guy from Seattle?
Tariq Wooden.
Yeah, Woolen.
Woolen.
Those two had tremendous seasons last year, but Sauce got all of the attention, mainly because he's in New York and the fact that he went so high in the draft. Noteworthy points. They've signed Greg the Leg, who has some experience, and they signed old ass Thomas Morstead. So they aren't playing around in any facet of this game. They're making sure that if they have to punt, they're punting the ball a mile. If they have to kick, they're kicking the ball a mile. Jets look pretty good on paper. I think that they have a shot at the division, honestly.
And one thing that does concern me is the health of the offensive line. Mekhi Becton has struggled to have a healthy year in his career so far. Can he do that, or are they going to be struggling at the tackle position yet again?
Oh, and they have the other Connor McGovern in the league.
Oh my. You can just write out the record books when the two McGoverns and the AFC East face off.
Yeah.
AFC East is for Justin.
But yeah, as long as the offensive line can stay healthy, I think they got a shot.
And seriously though, Breece Hall, honestly could have been rookie of the year as well. They could have had three players that were arguably rookies of the year last year.
It was impressive.
You don't see that often. This is kind of a situation where a team could just go from zeros to heroes overnight.
And players love playing with Robert Saleh. Despite Sean Payton's words, apparently offensive players like Nathaniel Hackett. Looking forward to that Week 5 matchup. I kind of hope it gets flexed to Sunday night, because that would be electric to see Aaron Rodgers just light up that defense.
For drama going on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the AFC East. Justin, let's go to the division picks.
Yep. Matt, go ahead.
I still have the Bills winning the division on my list, but don't put it past the Jets to steal a few games and take that number one spot. Both teams are more than likely going to be in the playoffs, barring any injuries or whatever. Dolphins outside the playoffs, potentially on the brink. Patriots, I really hope they don't get Marvin Harrison Jr. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look at what I'm wearing. Obviously, I was going to pick the Bills to win the division. I wouldn't be a fan if I didn't. But obviously, the Jets are going to be really tough competition for them this year. Aaron Rodgers just adds a completely different element to them. The Dolphins, I expect them to be strong if Tua stays healthy. I think this position here is kind of more a reflection that I'm not confident that will happen. In fact, it was kind of hard to put the Patriots in last because it feels like they somehow find a way to win more games than they should. I thought about putting the Patriots ahead of the Dolphins just because I'm worried about health for the Dolphins, but ended up going with the Dolphins ahead of the Patriots. Chad?
I just got to say this, guys. I literally did this just because of Justin. I'm going with the J-E-T.
Just to spite me.
Jets. That's right, baby. They're going to come in. They're going to smack those sweet little Bills around. I'm sticking
Boo.
to my guns, baby. You're going down this year, Justin. I'm telling you now. He's going to go Jets. Then you're going to look at the Bills in a second. They're going to get a wild card spot. And we all know the Bills are good. They're going to make the playoffs. They could make a Super Bowl run. Josh Allen MVP. But the Jets, baby. The Jets are going to win that division. Dolphins in third because Tua can't keep his head on his shoulders. And the Patriots, I don't need to say anything about.
Yeah, the Jets are going to whoop up on the Bills so bad that the current Bills statues that are rendered to go outside their new stadium are just going to continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller.
They're just going to move because they can't take the beatings that Aaron Rodgers is about to put on them.
Yeah, move to Albany. Move to the capital of New York.
Saskatoon.
Oh, man. Well, looks like I'm picking the Steelers to win the North.
You're drunk with power, my man. You're drunk.
At least ours is realistic. All right.
Oh, that's true.
Anything else on the AFC East?
We're probably better off not having any more takeaways. We have gone way too wacky.
All right. Well, we only got 2 minutes left anyway, so that is the AFC East. We'll see you next time. See you later.
See you, everybody.